December 1944, the Ardennes Forest. What soldiers would later call the Battle of the Bulge. In a frozen foxhole, surrounded by the dying and the dead, Private James Mitchell pulled out a crumpled piece of paper, the last clean sheet from his kit. If I don't send this, they'll never know. James Mitchell was 23 years old. A factory worker from Pittsburgh who'd enlisted the day after Pearl Harbor. He'd promised his mother he'd come home. He'd promised his younger brother Tommy that he'd teach him to drive when the war was over. He'd promised Sarah, his Sarah, that they'd have that wedding under the oak tree in her father's yard. 3 years later, James was a lifetime older. He'd landed at Normandy, fought through France, watched friends fall. And now, in this frozen hell, surrounded by German forces, he knew something his family back home didn't yet know. He wasn't going to keep those promises. The bullet had caught him just below the ribs that morning. His sergeant, now dead 10 yards away, had tried to patch him up, but James knew. He'd seen enough wounds to recognize which ones a man walked away from. This wasn't one of them. He had maybe hours, maybe less if the Germans advanced again, and he had one piece of paper. One chance to say goodbye. One chance to give them closure. But how do you fit an entire unlived life into a single letter? James pressed the pencil to paper. His hands shook from cold, from blood loss, from the weight of what he had to say. Dear Mom, Tommy, and Sarah. He stopped, 3 words in, and already his eyes burned. He'd practiced this 100 times in his head during long marches and lonely watches. But now, with the pencil actually in his hand, every word felt impossible. I don't have much time, so I need you to listen, really listen. Mom, you always said I was stubborn, that I got it from Dad. You were right. That stubbornness kept me alive this long. But more than that, it kept me human. Every time I wanted to give up, I'd remember you telling me that Mitchells don't quit. So I didn't. I want you to know that everything good in me came from you. Tommy, you're the man of the house now. I know you're only 16, but you're not a kid anymore. Take care of Mom. Finish school. Don't you dare drop out to work at the factory. You're smarter than me. Always were. And Tommy, when you do learn to drive, take it slow on Miller's Corner. I won't be there to bail you out. The artillery fire was getting closer. James could hear German voices in the distance. He didn't have long. He pressed on. Sarah, my beautiful Sarah, I'm so sorry. Sorry I won't be there for that wedding. Sorry I won't grow old with you. Sorry I won't give you the life we planned. But Sarah, listen to me, and this is the most important thing I'll ever tell you. You have to live. Not just survive, but really live. Fall in love again. I mean it. Find a good man who give you babies and Sunday mornings and all those little moments we dreamed about. Don't you dare turn me into a ghost that haunts the rest of your life. Promise me, Sarah. Promise me you'll be happy. He could barely see the paper now. Blood loss was making everything hazy. But he had to finish. He had to make them understand. I need all 3 of you to know something. I'm not scared. I'm not angry. I'm grateful. Grateful I had a mom who taught me kindness, a brother who gave me laughter, a girl who showed me what love feels like. Some men go their whole long lives and never have what I had in 23 years. This war is bigger than me, bigger than any of us, but every single one of us here chose to stand between evil and home, between darkness and everyone we love. If I could go back and choose differently, knowing how this ends, I wouldn't change a thing, because you're safe, and that's all that matters. Tell everyone I loved them. Tell them I did my duty, and tell them it was worth it, all of it, because of you. Love, James. Private James Mitchell folded the letter carefully. He tucked it into his jacket pocket, along with his dog tags. Then he did something remarkable. He picked up his rifle. Because here's what James understood in that moment, what every soldier who's ever written a last letter understands. Sacrifice isn't about dying. It's about what you do with the time you have left. And James Mitchell still had enough left to matter. When the German advance came 20 minutes later, James Mitchell held his position. He held it long enough for his wounded squad mates to be evacuated, long enough for them to get home, long enough for them to deliver his letter. The letter reached Pittsburgh 3 weeks later. A chaplain delivered it personally, the paper stained and worn, but every word still legible. Margaret Mitchell read it to her youngest son, both of them weeping. She sent it to Sarah, who kept it for the rest of her life, even after she did remarry, even after she had children of her own, because James had given her permission to live, and that was a gift she never forgot. Today, that letter sits in the National World War II Museum. Thousands of people pass by it every year. Most don't know James Mitchell's full story. They don't know about the factory in Pittsburgh, or the oak tree, or Tommy's driving lessons that never happened. But they see those words. If I don't send this, they'll never know. And they understand. They understand that war's greatest casualties aren't just the lives lost, but the futures stolen, the weddings that never happened, the children never born, the growing old together that got replaced with growing old alone. But they also understand something else, that last letters, those final words written by trembling hands in frozen foxholes, are more than goodbyes. They're bridges, bridges between who we were and who we might have been, between sacrifice and meaning, between the dying and the living. James Mitchell made sure they knew. That's all any of them wanted, to be remembered, to matter, to know that their sacrifice meant something. And 80 years later, we're still listening, in memory of all those who wrote last letters. May we never forget why they had to.